Betrayal. Sometimes betrayal comes from those closest to you, especially when your own son says 18 to 24 months average life expectancy. Even better, as if he's waiting for you to die faster. Doctor's office in Massachusetts, 2022, where I'm standing behind the door, standing quietly, and inside is my son David, talking to Dr. Richard, where he thinks I have dementia. But I hear every word perfectly well. David's voice. Dr. Morrison, I need to arrange a nursing home, but I don't want to spend money on an expensive place because Dad has dementia, so quality doesn't matter, and where's the cheapest place? Richard. There's a place $1,800 a month. But David, the conditions are terrible with insufficient staff and low quality where most residents don't live long, showing average 18 to 24 months. Silence where I wait and hold my breath, thinking, what will my son say? David's voice full of joy. Perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. 18 to 24 months? Even better. Dad's old anyway at 73, and $1,800 a month is super cheap, so sign up right away. Even better. Showing those words where my dying faster is better for him. I froze behind the door where legs trembled, heart broke, and tears came silently. My son is waiting for me to die and waiting for the money. This is me showing Walter Thompson at 73 years old as retired engineer. And this story is about how I faked dementia and saw my son's true face where he called me a burden and an old burden. And he said, 18 to 24 months? Even better. The Dementia Act showing the test as the most painful test. And the result is heartbreaking, but real. If you're interested in real stories like this and you want to listen stories of family betrayal, please subscribe to the channel because every day I share life's most painful lessons that are shocking, heartbreaking, but educational. Every story begins with a small worry where mine began with forgetfulness. My name is Walter Thompson, at 73 years old in Massachusetts, as retired electrical engineer who worked at General Electric for 40 years, showing good career and good retirement. My wife Margaret died 10 years ago from cancer, where she was the love of my life at 71 after 50 years of marriage. And now I'm alone but managing. My only son David at 48 years old as corporate lawyer in Boston, showing successful and wealthy, married to his wife Ellen with no children, just the two of them. January 2022. I started forgetting little things like, where did I put the keys? What was the neighbor's name? What did I eat yesterday? Normal aging at 73, but David was worried, very worried. Dad, you called me last night saying, David, what time is it? Where I told you, and half an hour later you called again saying, David, what time is it? With same question where you didn't remember. David, I'm old where I forget sometimes, and it's normal. But Dad, this could be a sign of dementia where you should see a doctor and get a checkup. David, I'm fine where I don't have dementia. Dad, please go for me and let's be sure. I agreed because David is my son and he's worried. Okay, David, I'll go. But inside I had a doubt thinking, why was David so insistent? Why was he so worried? I'm just a little forgetful where it's not dangerous. One day in early February, I visited David at his house in Boston, showing a big house, luxurious house, and expensive house. I stood in the kitchen drinking water where David and Ellen were in the living room talking loudly, and I heard them. I heard every word. Ellen, David, your dad is forgetful, so maybe it's early dementia? David, I hope so, because if it is dementia, we can send him to a nursing home legally where we'll get power of attorney and we can sell the house. Ellen, the house? Dad's house? David, yes, worth $800,000 in Boston suburbs showing prime location. And if Dad gets dementia, he won't care about the house, so we'll sell it and use the money, and maybe a vacation in Europe, a new car, Ellen laughed. David, you're terrible. But it makes sense because if Dad gets dementia, it really won't matter. I froze where the glass almost slipped from my hand as I was shaking. My son is hoping I get dementia to sell the house, showing $800,000 for a vacation in Europe and a new car. I slipped out quietly through the back door, got in the car, and drove home. I couldn't sleep that night, where I thought long and hard. Is David really like that? Or did I hear wrong? Maybe they were joking. But no, the tone was serious where Ellen laughed and David planned it, saying, "We'll sell the house." My heart broke where for the first time in years I doubted my son. The next day, David called. "Dad, I made a doctor's appointment with Dr. Morrison tomorrow at 10. Dr. Richard Morrison, at 68 years old, showing my closest friend with 40 years of friendship. We were college roommates at MIT in the 1970s, where we studied together and graduated together. The Vietnam War in 1971, where we both volunteered and fought together, and Richard saved my life. Ambush from Viet Cong, where I was shot in the leg with blood loss and passing out, but Richard picked me up on his back, carried me a mile to a safe zone, and handed me over to the medic. Walter, you're not going to die because I'll save you, and I promise. He did where my life continued because of Richard. 40 years where we always stayed in touch as closest friend and most reliable friend. Now a doctor's appointment with Richard where David set it up. I called Richard last night. "Richard, I'm coming tomorrow where David set it up for checkup. I know Walter where David called me saying my dad's forgetful and might have dementia, and he sounded worried. Richard, I need to talk to you, showing a private conversation and important." "Of course, Walter. Come early tomorrow before David, and we'll talk." The next morning at 9 o'clock, I went early to Richard's office with empty waiting room, just us. I entered his office where Richard hugged me. "Walter, how are you? You look worried." "Richard, please sit down and I'll explain." I explained everything, showing David and Ellen's conversation with, "We'll sell the house. It doesn't matter if he has dementia," and a vacation in Europe. Richard's face darkened. "Walter, are you serious? Did David really say that?" "Yes, Richard. I heard every word. And now he's sending me to you for a dementia check, because if you say there's dementia, he can legally get power of attorney and sell the house. But you don't have dementia, Walter, where you're a bit forgetful, showing normal aging, so I'll tell David that." "No, Richard, don't." "What?" I took a deep breath. "Richard, I have a plan where I want to fake dementia to see David's true colors, and if you say there's dementia, how will David react? Will he be happy? Will he be sad? I want to see." Richard paused. "Walter, this is dangerous, showing legally complicated and ethically. I know, Richard, but I want to know if David is really just in it for the money, or did I hear wrong? This is my last chance to find out the truth." Richard thought for a long time where he stared at me. "Walter, you saved my life in Vietnam in 1971, and I owe you where I always will." "Richard, this is different where this..." "No, Walter, you gave me life, so I'll give you the truth, and I accept where I'll say there's dementia, and observe David's reaction with you." We hugged for a long time. "Thank you, Richard. You're a true friend." "Always, Walter, always." 10 o'clock brought David arrived where he entered the waiting room and saw me. "Dad, are you ready? Dr. Morrison is waiting inside." I looked and stared blankly. "David? Who are you?" David froze. "What?" "Dad, I'm David, your son." "David?" "I don't know David, so who are you?" David's face changed, showing shock, but something else in his eyes, like excitement? Hope? "Dad, okay. Let's go inside where Dr. Morrison will examine you." We entered the office with Richard at his desk, showing serious face. Walter, welcome. Please sit down where David can sit too. Richard examined me where he asked questions. What day is it today? Who is the president? What is your home address? I gave wrong answers, intentionally wrong. Today, Tuesday? No, Thursday? I don't know. President Kennedy? And my home, where is my home? David was watching intently, where on his face was a hidden smile. Very small, but I saw it. Richard took notes. Walter, we're going to do some tests showing memory tests as simple tests. We did the tests where I failed on purpose with remember 3 words: apple, table, car. And 2 minutes later, Richard asked, what were the 3 words? And me, I don't know, I forgot. David's eyes lit up with excitement. Richard looked serious. David, can you step outside? I need to talk to Walter privately. Of course, doctor. David left where the door closed. Richard turned to me and whispered, Walter, excellent acting where David believes it, and now I'm going to tell him you have dementia. So are you ready? I'm ready, Richard. Go ahead. Richard opened the door. David, please come in. David came in and sat down where his face was serious, but his eyes were excited. Richard spoke slowly. David, I'm sorry. Where your father has developed rapidly progressing dementia, and the test results are clear, showing stage 2, soon to be stage 3. Dementia? Are you sure? Yes, definitely showing memory loss, confusion, and time disorientation, where he has it all. David bowed his head, seeming sad, but there was something else in his voice. That's terrible, doctor. But what should we do? A nursing home with professional care and 24/7 supervision, because at home is no longer safe. I understand where I'll arrange it immediately. Immediately, where he emphasized the word showing, I'll arrange it immediately. Richard continued, David, this is a difficult process where your father may not remember you and his personality may change, so you will be emotional. I understand, doctor, where I am strong, and I can handle it. I am strong, but his eyes are happy, very happy. We left the office and got in the car where I sat in the back seat as David was driving. I kept acting. Where are we? Are we going home? Yes, Dad, we're going home, so calm down. The phone rang, showing Ellen speaking on speakerphone. David, how did it go? What did the doctor say? David's voice was joyful, secretive, but I heard it. Ellen, good news! It's finally confirmed. Dementia confirmed. Dr. Morrison confirmed it. Really? Perfect. Yes. Now we can sell the house. $800,000 is ours. This old burden is finally over. I froze in the back seat thinking, old burden, where he called me an old burden. And finally it's over, as if he was waiting for it. The tears came silently, where my head was bowed, as David couldn't see me in the mirror. But I heard it. I heard every word. Perfect. Ours. And the old burden is over. My heart broke a second time. We got home where David parked the car and turned to me. Dad! You stay here! I'm going out! He yelled loudly, as if I'm deaf, where dementia doesn't make you deaf. But David doesn't know, or he doesn't care. I got out of the car slowly, where David is impatient. Hurry up, Dad! I'm waiting! We entered the house to the living room, where David is on the phone with Ellen, and I sit down and listen. Ellen, he already has dementia, where he doesn't understand what anyone says, so it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what we do where dementia patients feel sick. They hear and they understand. But David doesn't know, or he doesn't care. He turned to me and pushed me by the arm. Sit here. Don't move. I staggered and almost fell where David didn't care. Be careful, Dad. If you fall and break something, it'll be more work. More work where I'm work, a burden and a problem. David went into another room and made a phone call on speaker where I heard it. "Hello, I'm looking for a real estate agent where I want to put my father's house up for sale at $800,000 because Dad has dementia. I'll get power of attorney, so please make it quick." Dementia, power of attorney, and quick. That night I lay in my bed crying silently. "David, you're my son where I raised you. I paid for your college. I gave you the down payment for your first house. I financed your wedding, and I gave you everything. And you call me an old burden saying he's finally lost it, and it doesn't matter what we do. I loved you for 48 years, but you see me as money showing $800,000 and a European vacation." I couldn't sleep all night because tomorrow we're going to Richard's office where David will look for the cheapest nursing home, and I will hear it. I will hear everything. Am I ready? Am I ready for more pain? I don't know, but I have to keep going to the end because I have to find out the truth, the whole truth. Because maybe I'm wrong where maybe David is just stressed, and maybe he really does love me, or maybe not. Tomorrow I'll find out at Richard's office during the cheapest nursing home conversation. And then I'll decide showing will I forgive him, or will I lose my son forever? I don't know yet. The next morning, March 5th, 2022, at Richard's office where David took me there early. "Dad, today we'll talk to Dr. Morrison about the nursing home where you sit quietly, and I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it where everything David will take care of, and my opinion doesn't matter because dementia." I sat in the waiting room with the dementia act, continued showing blank stare and silent. David entered Richard's office. "Dr. Morrison, can we speak privately?" "Dad will wait outside." "Of course, David." The door closed, but it didn't close completely where Richard left it ajar on purpose because that was the plan, and I would hear every word. I got up, approached quietly, stood by the door, and listened. David's voice. "Dr. Morrison, I need to arrange a nursing home, but I don't want to spend money on an expensive place." Richard. "David, your father needs quality care where dementia patients—" David cut him off. "Dr. Morrison, let's be clear because Dad has dementia, and quality doesn't matter since he's not aware anymore. So where's the cheapest place?" Silence where Richard acted shocked. "David, are you serious?" "Yes, the cheapest, so tell me." Richard took a deep breath where he had told me the plan, and now he was testing it. "There is a place showing Gleenside Care Home at $1,800 a month." $1,800? Perfect. Anything else? "But David, the conditions are terrible with insufficient staff, low-quality food, and minimal medical care where most residents don't live long, showing average 18 to 24 months. Silence with long silence where I held my breath, thinking what would David say? What would he say? David's voice burst out with joy. "Perfect. Just what I was looking for. 18 to 24 months? Even better." I froze completely where my legs gave way, and I leaned against the wall because otherwise I would have fallen. 18 to 24 months? Even better. My death, my dying faster, is better for him showing better where he'll spend less money and sell the house faster. David continued. "Dad's already old at 73, and $1,800 a month is super cheap, so sign up now." "Can we start today?" Richard with disgust in his voice showing revulsion. "David, your father is your father where he's 73, but he could be healthy and could live for years in a good place, but you're choosing the worst place because 18 to 24 months even better." "Dr. Morrison, Dad has dementia where he's not Dad anymore, but he's a burden, and I'm putting him in the cheapest place, selling the house and getting the money showing business. Just business. So now give me the information on Gleenside. Burden showing a load where I'm a burden in my son's eyes." Tears came where I couldn't stop them as they ran down my face quietly by the door, alone and broken. Richard. "David, I want to ask you something before I give you this information. Do you really want your father to die within 18 to 24 months? I don't want that, Dr. Morrison. But if it's going to happen, let it be with the least amount of money spent showing pragmatic. Pragmatic? Your father's life is just an expense to you? Dr. Morrison, look, Dad has dementia where whether he's in a good place or a bad place, he won't notice because he'll forget and won't know. So then why should I spend $5,000 a month? $1,800 is enough where I'm realistic. Realistic where my son is talking realistically about my death, like it's business. Richard. Okay, David. I'll call Gleenside and see if they have a slot tomorrow. Great. As soon as possible, right away, because the house is going on the market where the realtor is waiting. The realtor is waiting where the house will be sold. I will be sent to Gleenside for 18 to 24 months. Then I will die. And David will get $800,000. Plan showing perfect plan as my son's plan. The door opened where David came out and saw me by the door with my face wet, but I turned my head away immediately and hid the tears. Dad, what are you doing there? I told you to sit down. I'm looking for the bathroom. Okay, let's go because we're done here. Richard looked out the door at me where his eyes were sad, very sad, and he shook his head as if saying, I'm sorry, Walter. We got in the car where David was driving, and I was in the back seat, silent, very silent. David made a phone call to Ellen on speaker. Ellen, I got it. Gleenside, $1,800 a month. And the best part? Average lifespan, 18 to 24 months. So perfect. Ellen laughed. David, you're terrible. But smart where 18 to 24 months means fast. Yes. House sells, money comes in, and 18 to 24 months later, Dad goes too. So everything's solved. Dad leaves too, as if I'm trash to be thrown away. David continued, There's a slot tomorrow, but I'm too busy with important things where I'll meet with the realtor, put the house up for sale, then celebration lunch, and I'll send Dad the next day. Ellen, celebration lunch? Yes! $800,000. We have to celebrate. Italian restaurant, expensive wine, and a day of honor. In the back seat, my heart stopped where celebration lunch, and my being sent to the nursing home is a celebration for him. What if Dad stays home one more day? He has dementia anyway, so it doesn't matter. David laughed where Ellen laughed. He hung up the phone and looked at me in the mirror. Dad, I'm busy tomorrow where you stay home, and the day after tomorrow, Dr. Morrison will take care of you, okay? Okay. Good, because you don't understand anything anyway, so it's okay. You don't understand anything, but I understand everything, showing every word, every plan, and every betrayal. We got home where David dropped me off at the door. Dad, I'm leaving for important meeting, so lock the door, don't move, and I'll be back tomorrow. He left where the car left, and I was left alone at home in the silent house. I closed the door where I didn't lock it, went to the living room, and collapsed on the couch. And I cried where for the first time in years, I cried out loud uncontrollably, because the pain was unbearable, too unbearable. David, you are my son where I held you in my arms. I saw your first steps. I heard your first words. I taught you to ride a bike, and I took you to school every day. College at MIT showing $100,000 for 4 years where I paid every cent and never complained. Your first home with down payment at $150,000 where I gave it gladly. The wedding with Ellen showing $40,000 wedding where I financed it with a smile. Total, how much in total? $300,000? More? I gave it. I gave everything because you're my son and I love you. And you, what did you give me? Burden, old burden, 18 to 24 months, even better, and celebration lunch. I picked up the phone with trembling hands and called Richard. "Richard, it's Walter, so can you come? Please, right away." Richard heard the pain in my voice. "Walter, I'm coming in 10 minutes. 15 minutes brought Richard arrived where he knocked on the door. I opened it, and he saw me with my face swollen and my eyes red from crying. "Walter." He hugged me tightly. "Walter." I heard it. Every word showing 18 to 24 months, even better, where I couldn't believe it from his own son. We went inside where I sat down and Richard sat down next to me. "Walter, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue? Are you going to go to Gleenside?" "No, Richard. I'm not going to Gleenside, where I'm not going to wait 18 to 24 months to die because I'm healthy with no dementia, and you know that, and I know that. Then, Richard, I'm going home where I'm calling my lawyer, and David will come tomorrow with the real estate agent to sell the house. But I'll be at home strong as an ox with no dementia and with my lawyer, and David will face reality." Richard nodded. "Right decision, Walter. But the lawyer? Who is he?" "Thomas Reynolds, at 62 years old, as family law specialist, who's been my lawyer for 20 years, showing reliable, very reliable." "What are you going to do legally?" "I'm going to disinherit him, showing disinheritance where David will get nothing, and the house will go to charity, the savings to charity, and David will get $0. Richard: "Walter, are you sure? He's still your son." "No, Richard. He's not my son anymore, where he said burden. He said 18 to 24 months, even better. And he's planning a celebration lunch where my being sent to a nursing home is his celebration. He's not my son anymore, where he's a stranger, a greedy stranger." Richard took my hand. "Walter, I'm with you where I'm always with you, because you saved my life in Vietnam, and now I'll protect your rights." "Thank you, Richard, where you're my real brother, not David. You." Richard left where I called Thomas immediately. "Thomas Reynolds. Thomas, it's Walter showing emergency, so come to my house immediately and prepare the documents: disinheritance, power of attorney revocation, and restraining order preparation." Thomas heard the urgency in my voice. "Walter, what happened?" I explained briefly, showing the Dementia Act, David's words with 18 to 24 months, even better, celebration lunch, and everything. Thomas was shocked. "Walter, this is elder abuse showing financial exploitation and emotional abuse, and this is criminal." "I know, Thomas, but first I have to cut him off family-wise, showing legally cut him off, and he's coming tomorrow at 2 with the realtor to sell the house, and I'll meet him strong as an ox, and you'll be with me. I understand, Walter, where I'll prepare the documents, and I'll be there in an hour." An hour brought. Thomas arrived with briefcase full of documents. He spread them out on the table. "Walter, here are the papers where 3 are important. First, revocation of will and disinheritance, showing cancel the old will with new will. $0 to David, where the entire estate, house $800,000, savings $200,000, total $1 million, to charities showing Alzheimer's Association, Veterans Affairs, and Elder Abuse Prevention Foundation. Second, revocation of power of attorney, where if David has an existing POA, he doesn't yet, but preventative, it's revoked with new POA, me and Dr. Richard Morrison. Third, cease and desist, showing written notice to David. You no longer have the right to enter this house, where if you do, it's trespassing, and the police will be called. Fourth, prepare elder abuse report to Massachusetts. Elder Protective Services, showing David's attempted financial exploitation and emotional abuse with audio/video evidence from Richard's recordings attached. Thomas looked at me. "Walter, if you sign, David legally can't get anything, and if he resists, we can prosecute him for elder abuse as felony." I took the pen where my hand was shaking, because this signature is the end, showing losing David forever. But I heard 18 to 24 months, even better, again in my ears, showing that voice and those words. I signed every document with a trembling hand, but I signed. Thomas, do it. Do everything. I will Walter where when David comes tomorrow, he'll be shocked. March 6th brought the next day at 1:35, showing 15 minutes to go. I was sitting in the living room, where Thomas was beside me with the briefcase on the table showing every document inside. I was wearing a suit, a gray suit with tie, clean-shaven, neat, and respectable. I was drinking tea where my hands were shaking as the cup almost fell. Thomas, Walter, are you ready? No, Thomas, I'm not ready at all because I'm rejecting my own son, showing legally rejecting him, emotionally disowning him, and forever disowning him. But he called me a burden. He said 18 to 24 months even better. And he would have welcomed my death with celebration. He's not my son anymore, Thomas, where he's a stranger, a cruel stranger. 2 o'clock showing 2 where the doorbell rings and a car parks. I looked out the window showing David's car where David gets out, and a woman gets out showing a real estate agent at 40 years old, maybe with briefcase in hand. David smiles happily. Here's the house. Great house. 800,000. They approach the door where he takes out a key, his own key, and he thinks his father is in a nursing home with dementia, where he thinks the house is empty. He puts the key in the lock, turns it, and the door opens. David enters with the real estate agent, where he enters smiling. Here's the house. 4 bedrooms, big yard, and prime location. Dad has dementia and went to the nursing home today, so the house will be empty and ready for sale. He stops and freezes where his face turns white. In the living room, me, Walter Thompson, sitting on the couch, sound as a bell, suited and booted, and eyes sharp with no dementia. Thomas Reynolds, lawyer, with briefcase beside him and serious face. David's mouth hung open where no words came out, just staring in disbelief. Dad? You have dementia. In a nursing home. How? And who is this? I stood up slowly, walked calmly, and walked towards him. Hello, David. Welcome where this is my lawyer, Thomas Reynolds, and I knew you were coming, so we were waiting. David stumbled back. But Dad, you have dementia. Dr. Morrison said so. He tested you. You didn't remember me. I smiled with a cold smile, a bitter smile. No, David. I was acting like I had dementia, showing acting where Dr. Richard helped me because he's my friend of 40 years, and we fought together in Vietnam, where he saved my life. And I told him everything, showing I told him your plan, and he helped me. I wanted to see your true face, David, and I saw it. I saw everything. The realtor was tense and uncomfortable. Mr. Thompson, I'm leaving because this seems like a family matter. And he hurried out where the door closed. David and me alone with Thomas in the quiet corner watching. David's voice trembled. Dad, were you acting? Why? Why would you do something like that to me? Why, David? Because I heard you talking to Ellen saying, we can sell the house, $800,000, and a European vacation where you were hoping I had dementia and hoping for the money. David shook his head. No, Dad, Don't lie, David, I yelled, where for the first time in years I yelled at my son. I heard everything. Everything. I opened the laptop on the desk where Thomas had set it up, and I opened the video. David, watch yourself. The first video showing the car with David on the phone with Ellen. David on screen. Ellen, good news! It's finally happened. Dementia confirmed. Perfect. Now we can sell the house. $800,000 is ours. This old burden is finally over. David looks at the screen showing frozen and motionless. Second video at home with David on the phone. David on screen. It's dementia anyway, where he doesn't understand what anyone says, so it doesn't matter what we do. David looks at me where his eyes are full of fear. Third video from Richard's office showing audio recording. David's voice. The cheapest nursing home where Dad has dementia, so the quality doesn't matter. Richard's voice. Glenside showing at $1,800 a month. But David, the conditions are terrible where most residents don't live long, showing average 18 to 24 months. Silence, then David's voice joyfully. Perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. 18 to 24 months? Even better. The video stopped showing silence. Heavy silence. I looked at David and looked into his eyes where my tears flowed, and I couldn't control them. David, you said 18 to 24 months. Even better. My voice broke completely. I'm your father at 73 years old, where you wanted me to die faster because you'd spend less money showing $1,800 a month as cheap and 18 to 24 months as fast, perfect, and even better. You planned a celebration lunch, David showing Italian restaurant, and expensive wine, where my being sent to a nursing home was a celebration for you. You called me a burden showing an old burden. A burden. So am I your burden, David? I'm the man who raised you and gave you everything. So am I a burden? David fell to his knees and collapsed on the floor. Dad, please, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're sorry, David? I yelled. Really? Or are you sorry because you got caught? If I had really died of dementia, what would you be doing right now, David? Tell me. David couldn't answer where he was crying silently. I'll tell you, David, where you'd be sitting in this house right now spending $800,000 saying it took 18 to 24 months, but he finally died. And you'd be comfortable with European vacations and new car where my death was your gain. You're not sorry, David, where you got caught, and that's the difference. Thomas stepped forward where he opened his briefcase and took out documents. David Thompson. I am Thomas Reynolds, showing Walter Thompson's attorney, and the following legal documents have been served upon you. He placed the documents in front of David on the table. First, disinheritance and new will showing old will revoked with new will. You get $0 where the entire estate, house $800,000, savings $200,000, total $1 million goes to charity. Alzheimer's Association, Veterans Affairs, and Elder Abuse Prevention Foundation. You legally get nothing. Nothing. David looked up. What? No, Dad, this is unfair. I'm your son. Second, power of attorney revocation, where you have no POA rights, and you never will with new POA, me and Dr. Richard Morrison. Third, cease and desist, trespassing warning, where you no longer have the right to enter this house. And if you enter again, the police will be called and you will be arrested for trespassing as criminal offense. Fourth, elder abuse report, where a report has been filed with Massachusetts Elder Protective Services showing your attempted financial exploitation and your emotional abuse has been documented with audio-video evidence. If necessary, criminal charges will be filed. Elder financial exploitation as felony, emotional abuse, and prison time possible. Thomas leaned toward David and looked stern. David, you are now legally no inheritance showing $0. You cannot enter this house showing it would be trespassing, and you are under investigation for elder abuse showing criminal charges possible. Do you understand? David on the floor collapsed and crying. Dad, please, I've lost everything, so give me a chance, just one chance. I leaned down, bent down to the floor, and looked at David's face and into his eyes. David, I gave you 48 years of chances. My voice was shaking, but I continued. I held you in my arms where I saw your first step and heard your first word showing you said Dada with joy. I took you to school every day at 7 in the morning for 12 years. College at MIT showing your dream as $100,000 for 4 years, where I paid every cent and never complained. Your first house with down payment at $150,000, where I gave it saying, David, be happy, and I gave it with joy. Your wedding with Ellen at $40,000, showing a lavish wedding where I financed it with a smile. Total David, showing $300,000, maybe more, where I gave it. I gave everything, because you're my son. I love you, and I always have. Tears streamed down where I couldn't stop them. And what did you give me, David? Tell me, what did you give me? David couldn't answer where he just cried. I'll tell you where you gave me a burden. You gave me an old man's burden. You gave me 18 to 24 months. Even better, and you gave me a celebration lunch. You were waiting for my death, David, where you were waiting for the money showing for $800,000. I stood up and stepped back. David, I don't forgive you where I will never forgive you, and you are no longer my son where you are a stranger, a greedy, cruel stranger. Now get out of my house and don't ever come back. David, Dad, please, where will I go? Ellen, work, everything. I don't know, David, and I don't care, so go now or I'm calling the police. Thomas pulled out his phone. David, leave or I'm calling 911 for trespassing, and don't you want a criminal record? David stood up where he staggered to his feet and walked toward the door slowly like a zombie. He turned at the door one last time where his face was broken. Dad, I'm really sorry. So please, one day, maybe one day you'll forgive me. I looked coldly. No, David, never. So go. He left where the door closed, the car started, and he drove away. Silence, showing heavy silence. The moment the door closed, I collapsed to the floor on my knees where I cried uncontrollably. I cried out loud, and I screamed. Ah, David, I kicked my own son out. I disowned him. Thomas came right over to me and held me. Walter, calm down. Breathe. How can I calm down, Thomas? He was my son. 48 years. 48 years I loved him. I raised him. I gave him everything. And now he's gone. Gone forever. Walter, you did the right thing where he was waiting for your death, and it was unforgivable. But Thomas, he was still my son. We were related by blood, and I... The words stopped, showing only crying and only pain. Thomas carried me to the chair and sat me down where he brought water. Walter, drink, please. I drank where my hands were shaking as the glass almost fell. Thomas, I did it where I lost my own son forever. Walter, he lost you where you were the right father who gave everything, and he became the wrong son who chose money, not you. But Thomas, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I should have given him a chance. People make mistakes, so maybe he could have changed. Thomas shook his head. Walter, did you say 18 to 24 months, even better? I paused. Yes. Did you say celebration lunch? Yes. Walter, this isn't just a mistake where this is cruelty, showing cold-blooded cruelty, and a person doesn't do that to his father, never. I cried again. Thomas, I'm so alone where Margaret died, David left, and I'm completely alone. No, Walter, you're not alone where you have Dr. Richard, you have me, you have friends, and you have veteran friends, so we are your family. But he was my son. Yes, Walter, he was your son, showing past tense, not anymore. That night, Thomas stayed at home because I couldn't be alone where I was too broken and too shattered. I looked at Margaret's photo in the bedroom, showing the wedding photo. Margaret, I lost David forever, so what should I do? Tell me, please. No answer, showing just silence and tears. March 2024 brought 2 years later. Where I'm 75 years old, I still live in my own house alone, but healthy with no dementia and never had it. Dr. Richard visits often where he comes every week. We have coffee, and we talk about Vietnam memories. You saved me in 1971, Walter, and I still owe you. No, Richard, you showed me the truth, so my debt is paid. Thomas is still my lawyer and my friend where we meet once a month. Your estate plan is up to date, Walter, where the charities are ready and everything is ready. Estate showing $1 million to Alzheimer's Association, Veterans Affairs, and Elder Abuse Prevention Foundation, where David won't get anything. David, what happened to him? He divorced Ellen 3 months later, where Ellen said, "I saw how cruel you were where I couldn't take it, and my conscience wouldn't allow it." He lost his job 6 months later from reputation damage, where the story spread in social circles. David Thompson abused his father, and firm said, "We can't trust you, so go." Now in a different city, showing Chicago at small law firm in junior position, with modest life, very modest. He wrote letters showing 10 letters in 2 years, where each one an apology, pleading, and remorse. First letter 3 months later. Dad, I regret it every day where Ellen left me and the firm fired me, so I lost everything. But I deserved it where I behaved horribly, and I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I beg you, please, one chance. I didn't respond. Fifth letter 1 year later. Dad, I'm going to therapy every week where I'm seeing a psychologist because I was greedy and cruel, but I'm changing. And trying to change, so one day could I see you again? Just for coffee? Please. I didn't reply. 10th letter 2 years later, yesterday. Dad, I know you won't reply, but I'll keep writing because you deserve it where you deserve to know. I've changed with 2 years of therapy, and I now volunteer at an elder care facility every Saturday at the nursing home where I help the elderly. I talk to them, and I listen to them. Because I'm living the lesson you taught me. The elderly are valuable where they carry wisdom and love, and they should be respected, always. Love is more important than money, where family is more important than money. And I learned this too late, but I learned it. I hope that one day you can look at me, not your son, but as a human being who makes mistakes, but who is trying to change. I love you, Dad, where I always have, but money blinded me, and now I can see. Too late, but I can see. David. I read the letter over and over where I cried again. Thomas is here where he came to visit today. Walter, what are you going to do? I don't know, Thomas, I don't know. Do you believe him? Do you believe he's changed? Maybe he has with 2 years of therapy and volunteering in elder care. So maybe it's real. Then? I don't know, Thomas, where maybe in 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe one day we'll have coffee and talk. But not father and son, just 2 people, showing strangers having coffee. And maybe never where maybe I'll never forgive him because 18 to 24 months, even better, is unforgivable. Not yet. Thomas shook his head. It's your decision, Walter, and I support whatever you decide. That night, I was alone where I looked at old photos showing David as a child at 5 years old, smiling, happy, and innocent. David, you were once my everything, showing my little boy and my sweet boy. But you changed where money changed you and greed changed you. Now you're going to therapy and volunteering, where you say you're changing. Maybe one day I'll forgive you, but not today, not tomorrow, and maybe never. But now I know I did the right thing where I stopped you. I taught you a lesson as a painful lesson, but a necessary lesson. And maybe this is my last gift to you, to see the truth, to live with the consequences, and maybe to change. I put down the photo and walked to the window where the sun is setting with red-orange sky showing beautiful and peaceful. I'm 75, alone, but peaceful because I did the right thing. David is writing letters and going to therapy, maybe changing, maybe. One day, maybe we'll have coffee where we'll talk. I'll forgive him, maybe. But not today, not now. Now I'm living healthily with my friends, showing Richard, Thomas, and my veteran friends. And David is living with the results showing with the 18 to 24 months even better results, and with the $0 results. Justice has been served showing painful justice, but justice. And I am peaceful, because truth always wins. 3 years later, March 2027. I'm 76 years old now, where the dementia test happened 3 years ago, and I've had time to reflect on everything that transpired. The letters from David continue, where he writes every month without fail, never asking for money or inheritance, but simply updating me on his journey. Last month's letter: Dad, I completed my therapy program where my psychologist says I've made remarkable progress in understanding how my greed poisoned our relationship. And I'm not the same person who said those terrible words 3 years ago. I've been volunteering at Gleenside, the same nursing home I wanted to send you to. And Dad, seeing the conditions there broke me completely, because I realized I was willing to let you die in that place for money. I work there every Saturday, helping residents who have no family, who are forgotten, who are exactly where I tried to put you. And every time I help someone, I think of you and how close I came to destroying the man who gave me everything. I don't ask for forgiveness because I don't deserve it, but I want you to know that your lesson changed me. And if I can prevent even one person from treating their parent the way I treated you, then maybe some good came from my cruelty. I read these letters where I keep them in a drawer, and sometimes I wonder if his transformation is genuine or if it's another manipulation. Richard visits yesterday, where we discussed David over coffee. Walter, I've been thinking about David's letters, and I believe they're genuine, Richard said. A manipulator would have given up by now, would have moved on, but David keeps writing knowing you'll never respond, which suggests real remorse rather than calculated performance. Richard, you helped me expose his cruelty, so why are you defending him now? I'm not defending what he did, Walter, which was unforgivable, but I'm recognizing what he's becoming, and people can change when they face consequences. And you gave him the hardest consequence possible, losing you forever. Do you think I should respond? Richard paused for a long time. I think you should do what brings you peace, where if that means maintaining distance, that's valid. And if it means cautiously opening a door, that's also valid. But don't feel obligated either way. Thomas has a different perspective, where when he visited last week, he said, Walter, David legally has no claim to your estate, which can never change regardless of reconciliation. So any contact you have with him would be purely emotional, not financial. And that protection might give you freedom to explore forgiveness without risk. Freedom to explore forgiveness, an interesting concept. The charities receiving my estate have been contacted, where I've met with representatives from Alzheimer's Association, Veterans Affairs, and Elder Abuse Prevention Foundation. Mr. Thompson, your donation will fund research, support services, and prevention programs, the Alzheimer's representative told me. Your story, your painful experience, will help protect other elderly people from what David tried to do to you. That brings me satisfaction, where my pain will prevent others' pain, and my estate will serve those who truly need it rather than funding European vacations. Ellen, David's ex-wife, contacted me 6 months ago, where she wrote a letter explaining her perspective. Mr. Thompson, I need you to know that I left David not just because of what he did to you, but because I realized I married a man I didn't know. And the person who said 18 to 24 months even better was a stranger to me. I'm ashamed that I laughed, that I participated, that I didn't stop him immediately, and I carry that guilt every day. David and I are divorced now, but I occasionally hear about his volunteer work and his therapy, and I don't know if he's changed, but I hope he has, because no one should carry that much darkness in their heart. I appreciated Ellen's honesty, where she acknowledged her complicity, expressed genuine remorse, and didn't make excuses. I wrote her back, the only person I've responded to. Ellen, thank you for your letter, where I don't hold anger toward you because you were influenced by David. and you ultimately made the right choice by leaving him. So I wish you well." She wrote back, thanking me, where she said my forgiveness helped her begin healing from the guilt. Mrs. Henderson, my neighbor, has become a good friend, where she's 78 years old, widowed, and we have coffee twice a week. "Walter, you did something remarkable," she told me yesterday. "You held your son accountable when most parents would have enabled his behavior, and that took more courage than most people possess." "It didn't feel courageous, Mrs. Henderson. It felt like survival." That's what courage is, Walter. Doing what's necessary even when it breaks your heart. My health remains good where I walk daily, maintain my house, stay mentally active, and have no signs of actual dementia. The irony isn't lost on me that I faked dementia to expose David's greed, and now I'm healthy and thriving while he lost everything. Sometimes at night I think about the moment when I stood behind Richard's door and heard David say 18 to 24 months? Even better. That moment changed everything, where it shattered my illusion of David's love and exposed the ugly truth beneath. But it also freed me, where I no longer wonder if David loves me. I no longer question his motives, and I no longer carry the burden of uncertainty. I know the truth, and truth, however painful, is better than comfortable ignorance. The question now is, can a person who said 18 to 24 months even better truly change? Can 3 years of therapy and volunteer work erase that level of cruelty? I don't know, and I'm not sure I'll ever know. What I do know is this: I'm 76 years old, I have good friends, I'm healthy, I have peace, and I have justice. David is living with consequences, possibly changing, possibly growing, possibly becoming someone worthy of redemption. But that's his journey, not mine. My journey is about living well, staying healthy, supporting causes that matter, and maintaining friendships with people who genuinely care about me. Richard, Thomas, Mrs. Henderson, my veteran friends, these are my family now. David may write letters for the next 20 years, and maybe when I'm 90 and facing my actual final years, I'll consider meeting him for coffee. Or maybe I won't, and that's okay too. The power is mine now, where I control the relationship, I set the terms, and I decide if and when forgiveness might be possible. That power, that agency, is what David took from me when he planned to send me to Gleenside, and it's what I reclaimed when I exposed his plan. Tomorrow I'm meeting Richard for lunch, where we'll probably discuss David's latest letter, Vietnam memories, and current events. Next week, Thomas is updating my will to ensure the charities receive specific allocations for programs I care about. Next month, I'm speaking at an elder rights conference about my experience, where I'll warn other elderly people about financial exploitation by family members. My life is full, purposeful, and meaningful. David's 18 to 24 months even better didn't come true, where instead, I'm thriving at 76, and I plan to thrive for many more years. That's the ultimate victory, not revenge or punishment, but living well despite his betrayal. As I close this chapter of my story, I want others to know: if you suspect a family member is exploiting you, test them, document everything, protect yourself legally, and don't be afraid to cut ties if necessary. Blood doesn't excuse cruelty, and family titles don't guarantee love. True family is those who love you for yourself, not for what you can give them. Richard saved my life in Vietnam and helped me save myself from David. Thomas protected my rights and ensured justice. Mrs. Henderson provides friendship without agenda. They are my family, chosen family, real family. David is somewhere in Chicago, writing letters, volunteering, going to therapy, possibly changing. Good for him, but that doesn't mean I owe him reconciliation. I owe myself peace, and I've found it. The Dementia Act revealed the truth. The truth set me free, and freedom is the greatest gift I could give myself. This is Walter Thompson at 76 years old, 3 years after hearing 18 to 24 months even better. And I'm still here, still healthy, still fighting, and still winning. Because truth always wins, and love, real love, always reveals itself. David failed the test, and I passed by having the courage to face the truth and act on it. That's enough. That's everything. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. Click on the box on the left to listen to the next story.